Hello Wargamers, brother Zachareus here, today talking about Mephiston, the Lord of Death. If you've ever played against him or fielded him, you probably realize that he really lives up to that title. And if he didn't in any of your games, then that's great for you or awful if you were the guy fielding him. Mephiston is an interesting character in the Blood Angels because he doesn't really have any of the typical hallmarks of a Blood Angel's character. He really wants to get into close combat, but that's about it. The good thing, though, is that he does that better than any other character in the Blood Angels army, and he does that better than almost any character in Warhammer 40,000, really. There are very few that can actually stand up to him when he's actually running at full power. In 5th edition, he was essentially an unstoppable murder machine, and he's weaker now. Because of a lot of the reasons that a lot of Blood Angels models are weaker right now. But the biggest thing, though, is that he has been affected almost the least of all the Blood Angels characters. The one that has been the least affected was Tycho, for reasons that I'll get to in a different video. But Mephiston is largely unaffected by the changes. And the reason for that is that psychic powers, even though his have been weakened and then taken away from him altogether, have been improved across the board, and he can really abuse the biomancy tree just probably better than almost any psyker can. He's got an enormous stat line, and when he gets Iron Arm, he goes up to 9 strength and 9 toughness. And he has no invulnerable save, but with 9 toughness, it's going to be ridiculously difficult for even the best weapons to kill him. And he is capable of moving quickly because he has fleet. He used to be able to act as jump infantry using one of the Blood Angels' psychic powers, and I'm expecting they'll probably return that in some way in the upcoming codex, but as it is right now, he just kind of has to, run fast across the battlefield. The big thing, though, in tandem with the 9 strength, 6 to 9 strength anyway, he has a ton of attacks. He is going to have 6 attacks on a charge. He has 5 naturally. And with that 9 strength, he's probably going to be swinging at AP2 if he gets Iron Arm. Otherwise, it'll be AP3. Even so, the great thing about him is that even though he's weaker, just, I guess, on average, as far as attacking goes, he's generally stronger on the defense. And regardless of which psychic powers he gets, he's going to have a role in your game. If he gets the really big Mephiston-y, I'm going to buff myself up so that I'm the Incredible Hulk and I'm going to go smash things psychic powers, he can go fight pretty much anything and come out on top. He can hunt down elite infantry that have 2-up armor saves that are going to hit, at strength 8 to 10, and ignore armor, and he's probably going to kill them because he's got 7 initiative and he's got tons of attacks, and he's going to be most likely rolling to wound on a 2-up and most likely rolling to hit on a 3-up. So he's going to land more attacks than he misses. He's going to wound even more than that. So he's going to be very effective at killing those. If he does not get those, then chances are he got the shooty biomancy psychic powers, which is going to give him options during the shooting phase, first of all. And second of all, he's still going to be a murder machine against medium to light infantry, which are going to be the guys more often than not that are going to be securing points. So he's going to be very good at hunting those guys down. His weaknesses are pretty pronounced, however. The biggest thing is that he is not an independent character, so he will always be off on his own, unless you team him up with another character that has independent character. Something that people realized recently is that you could tie Brother Corbulo up with him, who's a special character sanguinary priest, and that'll give him Feel No Pain and Furious Charge, which are things that Mephiston would totally love to have. The trouble, though, is that then you're including Corbulo with Mephiston, and Corbulo isn't cheap to begin with, and that's just kind of increasing your investment in him, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's just increasing the number of points you're focusing on one particular part of your army instead of strengthening it as a whole. The second thing is that he does not have an invulnerable save whatsoever. So AP2 weapons with their increased prevalence are a big problem for him. So you're going to really want to shield him, or if you're playing against him, you're really going to want to be able to pick apart the guys that are shielding him from the shots. He is only effective if he can get into combat. And, I mean, that's the case with everything, but it's especially so with Mephiston, because he goes from having almost no impact on the game to having just dramatic impact on the game. He can swing an entire game in the Blood Angel's favor all by himself if he's used correctly and he's allowed to get into a range where he's threatening. A lot of the big armies right now, like Eldar, Tau, and regular Space Marines, have a lot of ways of killing him before he gets there. So that is a couple strikes against him, but he's still a fantastic character, and he is expensive, like all Blood Angels characters are, but he is so strong, even now, that he is still worth fielding, and he is, in fact, more often than not what you're going to see if you see a Blood Angels player, because he is the least affected by the changes to the rules that have really punished Blood Angels in the last 2 years, and he just is capable of doing so much with just he's a very simple character, but he does what he needs to do better than almost anybody else in the game. So he's just reliable is really what it comes down to. You know what he's going to do, and he does it very well. That's it for this week. I hear that the Blood Angels Codex is most likely going to be the next one to be released, so next week I'm thinking I will be talking about what I hope to see, what I expect to see, and what I really don't want to see in the upcoming Codex. So until then, any thoughts, questions, post them below. Thanks for listening.